what do you see, let's say, as what do you offer, what do you console yourself even, let's say, with in regards to something approximating what is it that you're defending? What is it that's the West, let's say, that whose loss you're decrying? Like what's at the bottom of this that we're in such radical danger of losing? This is exactly what Dawkins was pointing to, however implicitly, when he described himself as a cultural Christian. It's like, okay, the West is under assault. Well, what is it that's worth defending precisely? And how do you conceptualize that and make it explicit? And so, I mean, when I go to Europe, what do I love about Europe? The great beauty of its artistic tradition. That's something that if you have any sense, and any aesthetic sense at all, that drops you to your knees. To go to Italy, to a town like Florence, and to go into a random church where there's a painting that, if sold, would be worth $500 million, and to see it just hanging on the wall, unguarded, with no one around. Well, what is that? That's an indication of two types of treasure. One, the art itself. Two, the fact that that art can just sit there without having 100 men with machine guns around it, making sure that no thug comes along and purloins it. So that's the treasure of that implicit trust that you described. So there's the beauty, there's the deep sense of voluntary civilization that characterizes Europe, right? There's a remarkable history of valuation of the individual all the way down the economic framework that's particularly present in the UK, probably. It's there in the Netherlands as well. There's other European countries that share that. This is not no civilization and no culture. And then, so what is it that we should be promoting and fighting for as far as you're concerned?
The main thing is that what you've just outlined, we should be continuing. One of the things is where small c conservatism is that if the most radical figures on the left come up with completely bizarre new manifestos for what should happen, like the complete forgetting of biology or anything else, if they come up with that, it's true that others could resist that and say, no, we have an alternative utopian vision and so on. I myself not a devotee of that idea. I'm a devotee of the idea of returning to the sane and the normal and the pursuit of the beautiful and the true. Now, those are all things which you don't have to invent a whole new paradigm for. We have it in the civilization you just described, in the institutions, in the buildings, in the works of art, and much more. It's what I mean, think of it this way. What if instead of everybody in our age who has any intelligence being told that they should use it to problematize history and go over history, focus on things that were solved and try to unsolve them and make the situation worse? What if instead of that, people actually wanted to make history? What if instead of being figures who could make the past worse and approach it with greater lack of nuance than ever before, they decided to become historic figures themselves? Well, that would be something to aim for. What if instead of seeing the dozen or so figures that stand over the courtyard at Columbia University, Dante, Aristotle, and so on, what if instead of viewing them as simply dead white men, you viewed them as part of a tradition that you can be a part of and add to? Well, that would be something. And I think it's a very good vision for life. And I think it did our forebears well. And if you have a pride in that tradition, which certainly in Europe we have the right to, not to eradicate any dark times, goodness knows, but a right to have that tradition and to want to add to it and to want to preserve it and keep it going, that seems to me a pretty good basis for life. And remembering things that everyone knew until yesterday.